Hey, welcome to my channel where I talk about my dolls, and that's literally it. And in this video, I'm going to be taking you down a little bit of a rabbit hole as I talk about all the 18-inch dolls I have collected that are not American Girl, the dolls that basically led me to my American Girl obsession that anybody who's seen my other videos would know what I'm talking about. And Efrat, Truly Me 121, whom I've named Efrat, is going to keep me company just because I'm going to be bringing up dolls that I kind of want to compare, but I'm not going to be undressing everybody and showing. I just want you to see like a little bit of a comparison side by side as I go through the different dolls that this almost feels like the original 18-inch doll because it was popular from the get-go and is the most popular I feel like to this day, at least in the circles I live in. And one thing I've never talked about, I have talked about the other dolls I collect on here that are also 18 inches among other dolls. But one thing I never explained about how I really got started on 18-inch dolls was with this little green dress. And it is it's like such a funny little detail because back in 2019, a fellow Tiana collector friend sent me a link to this dress it's I don't know if it's supposed to be Tiana, but you can tell it's not officially Tiana, but you can tell it was heavily inspired by Tiana as, let's say how cheap it is. No offense, it was a cheap dress, like it didn't cost a lot. And I mean, it does have a little bit of velour or velvet up here, so that's nice. But once I saw this, I originally went on a mission to find the perfect 18-inch doll that I could put up in my Tiana collection. And Tiana will come up a lot in this conversation because she's my main collection. I've been collecting her for probably close to 10 years. So a lot of the things I've been collecting since then, or over the last few years, have started through her one way or another. And so when I ordered this dress, again, because somebody sent it to me, so it's really their fault, all of this, after they sent it to me, I started looking around at different 18-inch dolls. And at the time, 2019, there wasn't anything that really grabbed me that could really be a Tiana character and have a little bit of a likeness. I, of course, I had already known about American Girl because of a trip I had taken to Chicago maybe a year or two before. And I'd been to the store there. But looking at all the available characters at the time, I didn't really feel the Addie mold, the sculpt mold, was a good representation of Tiana. As much as I love the mold now, she just didn't scream Tiana to me at the time. And even any of the Truly Me dolls that had like a similar enough Tiana skin tone didn't do it for me. And so back in 2019, I kind of put it on the back burner. I just held on to this dress that I thought one day I'll get back on it, but there was so much more to collect. And when would it have been? Probably not too much longer, maybe like 2020. I stumbled across, I'm going to bring up the doll now to show you, but I stumbled across these dolls called Healthy Roots. This was the only one at the time. So to tell you a little bit about it, it's a small black owned company. The founder, her name is, I hope I'm saying it right, Yalitza John Charles. She did the whole grassroots campaigning to get to get a Kickstarter, trying to get the doll funded because she had this idea that there were a lot of dolls on the market, 18-inch dolls, that didn't really, they were for hair play and any little girl could play with the dolls growing up. But no, there weren't really any dolls that were available to show little black girls or to teach them how to manage their own hair, how to style their own hair, because the hair texture obviously is different. And so she had this wonderful idea of creating a doll that was not only, fun to play with and good to teach kids, but also cute. So it was, I believe in 2015, she did a Kickstarter. I don't know why I couldn't find the information before 2015. She did a Kickstarter to get the prototype funded. And so this was the character, the first, she had 4 characters. I saw the artwork for the 4 characters, but Zoe was the first one she did the prototype of. And I got to be honest, it was, a very unique doll for the time, but it wasn't, I don't think it would have appealed to the masses the way Zoe, like this. If you look at this doll, it's a very beautiful, beautiful face, very cute, very nice sculpt and all the details are there. But the prototype just, you could tell it was like a work in progress. So that was in 2015 when she worked to get the Kickstarter going. And it wasn't until early October of 2019, so 4 years later, that, and I don't know the history between 2015 and 2019. I just know that she launched the doll there was like a countdown to the launch. She had gotten, I guess, enough funding and somebody to produce the doll. And so she announced the pre-order for just Zoe, and this was the reimagined Zoe. I'm going to show her to you again. And I want you to ignore the shoes. She actually comes with a pair of yellow shoes that are similar, higher top, but one of my American Girl dolls is wearing them. So she's got these floppy shoes on. And I'll show you in a bit the difference in the body types and why these don't really look that great on her. So it was October 2019 where the pre-order was launched for this doll, and it was only from, I don't remember the website, but it's not healthyroots.com. That's for health food or something. And that was the only place you could buy it for about a year. And the dolls at launch, and to this day actually, are $85 on Healthy Roots, which the dolls really exploded. I remember seeing them on social media at the time, even though I wasn't looking for a Tiana, or an 18-inch doll to be Tiana in my collection. And so this doll was always in the back of my mind, even though I didn't think she would be a great representation for Tiana. I still thought she was very cute. And I remember thinking like, oh, I wish I had a reason to collect this doll, but it was just, she was one doll. I don't usually at least buy one-offs of anything because I want a collection. I want to see a group of something together. I just like having a display and don't want things to feel lonely, I guess. And so I always had her in the back of my mind, but I just had no good reason to buy her. And Healthy Roots doesn't ship internationally. They only ship within America. And so I believe it was a year later, so about October of 2020, it was announced that Target was going to carry these dolls. And the launch, the pre-order was 2019, and then they shipped a year later. So October of 2020, they shipped from Healthy Roots. And then a year after that, so 2021, we're now, pretty deep into COVID. So everything was online at this point. And Healthy Roots announced that Target was now going to carry these dolls. And the funny thing is, they were going to be $80, well, $79.99 at Target, as opposed to $84.99, $85 on Healthy Roots. So they were $5 cheaper. And at one point, Target did ship to Canada. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I know they shipped here. But during COVID, they lost a lot of their, shipping capabilities. So they said, one day they were going to start shipping to Canada again. They haven't yet. And, I'm not saying COVID's over, but everything has pretty much been back to normal, and they still haven't started shipping to Canada. So this doll was still not attainable at the time. So I think that's what kind of delayed me from buying her. And then in July 15th, middle of July 2022, the Healthy Roots account on Instagram announced that there were going to be 2 new, what they call curl friends. So instead of girlfriends, because they have the curly hair. And I'll quickly show the other 2 dolls that came out that were launched then. And then I'll show you a little bit of the comparisons of the body, because their bodies are so different from American Girl. So this is Marisol, which is funny because it's a name of an American Girl of the Year. So I believe I think her vibe was like, like the island girl. And so as you can see, she's very different looking. And again, another beautiful sculpt, very unique. And one thing that I really loved about these dolls, as opposed to all the other 18-inch dolls at the time, was, first of all, the heads are on a neck, so there's a ball joint. So you can just do so many different cute poses, and they're more dynamic when you're displaying them. But they also have, so they do have the plush body, but it's just down beneath the chest plate. So as you can see, there are joints here. So the dolls are pretty posable, all in all. But the body types are so different from American Girl. If you can see, the bodies are smaller, the limbs are much thinner, and the feet are narrow and longer. So I'm just trying to show you all the differences without having to strip her right now. But again, the faces are so cute, and they have inset eyes instead of blinking eyes. And so these are just rooted eyelashes. And so they're decal eyes, not pinwheel like most American Girl dolls. And I didn't really explain the hair system, because the way American Girl dolls have wigs, these more so have hair that's on track. So it's the hair, so they're like strips. I don't know if you can really, I'm showing a good example of how it looks, but it's, like each hair is on a track that's then super glued, it feels like, to the scalp. So you couldn't you wouldn't be able to customize them the way you can an American Girl doll, which is one of the things I love about American Girl, is being able to customize them, even though I had never dealt with wigged dolls before, so I hated that at first. But because I love personalizing dolls, that element really grew on me. But so this wasn't the doll that really caught my eye though when they came out. The third character, I'm gonna throw on a doll stand, is the one I really loved. So her name is, I believe she pronounces it like the country, like the island, Guyana. But maybe it's Guyana. I used to call her Guyana because it sounded like Tiana, and I'm so obnoxious like that. So she is the most islandy, as you can see by her outfit and the necklace she's got on. She's got the deepest skin tone and a very unique eye color that really pop against her darker skin. And if you probably notice that all their hair types are very different. So the idea was to introduce as many dolls with as much variation, especially with the hair play is concerned, so that other girls could, different types, girls with different types of hair could find a doll that they could relate to the most. And I just thought she was the prettiest because she could be so I hadn't seen them in person yet because, like I said, they're all online. So I didn't know how the hair was when I had ordered her, and I wanted her. So I had ordered her to be a Tiana doll, which I'll get to later as to why I was, reinvigorated trying to find a doll to be an 18-inch Tiana in my collection. And then when I got her in person, because Tiana has her hair up in a bun, I realized I couldn't do that with this doll because of the hair track system I explained earlier. It's just, you would see these bands all around, and it wasn't pretty. But the doll was so pretty that now, because there were 3 characters, I thought, you know what, maybe I can just make a little display for these girls somewhere. And this isn't the original Guyana I ordered, and I think it actually is Guyana, how she pronounces it, because it's got 2 N's in it. So she wasn't the original one I ordered, because the first one I ordered, if you see the painted lashes on the bottom of her eyes, on one side they were hanging, like they were drooping down her face. No, I mean, I'm being really dramatic here, but they were drooping so much that she just looked like her eye was kind of melting. It just created this weird illusion. And I did mention how much they are, because so these are talking about the prices, meaning they're not a cheap doll. They're not like the other budget brands, which I'll talk about a little bit, but I won't really show any. So I was really sad at first that I had ordered this expensive doll because, like I said, I couldn't ship to Canada, which meant I had to have it shipped. Well, I had to pick it up in store at a Target in Buffalo, New York, which is a 2.5 hour drive for me, as the border started opening up and I could do that again. So because I felt like I'd gone through a lot to finally get her, I was a little sad. But then I realized the more I looked at her, the more I thought this line of dolls could have a boy doll. So what I did to the first one I had was I trimmed the rooted eyelashes and I used acetone to remove the painted eyelashes. And I trimmed the hair a little bit. And I've talked about these dolls on here before, and so I've talked a lot about how when I first started collecting American Girl Courtney's collection, it was for other 18-inch dolls. These are the dolls that I had dressed up in Courtney's wardrobe and used some of the accessories just because of the nostalgia, because I was a child in the 80s. But I have never shown on here any of the Healthy Roots dolls dressed up in Courtney's collection. So now I'm going to show the boy doll, with the doll I made into a boy. So Guyana turned into a boy, and his name, I named him Keon. And this was the outfit so I have shown this outfit on an American Girl doll because I ended up putting this on a Truly Me 113, whom I've named Zachariah. And so when I switched to American Girl eventually, it did take a while, I had been very used to this outfit on him. And you have to pardon his hair a little bit. I've dented his do over the last, I don't know, couple years that it's been on, or a year or whatever, year and a half that it's been on my Truly Me 113 doll. And I tried to reset his hair to do other things with it. But I tried to put it back in a little bit of an 80s afro tonight for the video. And so this was the best I could do on kind of short notice. And as you can see, I was used to how these dolls looked in the bigger American Girl clothes, and I loved it so much. And now I look at them because I'm used to American Girl, and he looks so silly. He's not the doll, but like the outfit on the doll looks so silly. But I was so in love with this, the way it looked on him for so long. And he had the Pac-Man arcade, so that's where he was displayed. And he was like kind of like a focal point of my collection at one point. So funny how that happens, that we just go through phases. And so what I wanted, so as you can see, it's another problem. So this was the weird thing when I started transitioning to American Girl. These dolls didn't suit my collection anymore because of can you see they almost have like a lollipop head compared to American Girl dolls? Their bodies are so skinny and then their heads are so big. They're very doll shaped, meaning a lot of dolls do have disproportionately big heads, which it didn't bother me at the time because I was used to it. I collected a lot of Disney dolls and they're the same way. But American Girl, even though they may seem a little bit big-headed, they're not really, especially compared to other dolls out there. So as my American Girl collection took over, I had to sort of annex these dolls into my bedroom where my Tiana collection is. So it's like full circle, bringing them back to the Tiana room where, I originally thought they would go. And as I was telling my sister, because I have a niece who is, she's 12 now. Am I doing the math right? No, she's 11. I was doing the math wrong. So she's 11 now. And at the time I started collecting these dolls, she must have been about 8 or 9. And my niece is biracial. She's half black, half white. So when my sister, her mom, found out about these dolls, she was so excited. And I was just like, I don't want to give her a doll that's 80, 85-ish dollars after tax US, because that's about 120, 125 Canadian, which is a lot to give a doll, to give a girl who is still very rambunctious with her dolls. So she is getting older now, and these have sat in my Tiana room for so long, kind of unloved, that I do think I'm going to start maybe giving her one at a time, seeing how she handles it. Maybe I'll start with Zoe, because Zoe is a very popular character. She's the first girl, but she's also, I think there is something very sweet and appealing to children. So I think I might start by just bringing her over Zoe one day and seeing how she handles it. Because my Guyana and Keon dolls, maybe eventually, but just the idea of them, getting injured at all is so heartbreaking. And then I think this doll does look the most biracial. She doesn't look like my niece because my niece is more melanated and has darker hair, so melanated in the skin and the hair. But I do think she would probably relate to her the most, just because of the way she looks. And so, speaking of dolls that I thought would be compatible for my niece, because I didn't think she'd be ready to have, like I said, these expensive dolls. And they're not just expensive, they're very special because of why they were designed. I wouldn't want to go over and see her, she's cut her hair or something like that, because she does cut dolls' hair. And so that would be very heartbreaking if she did that to these dolls, just because, like I said, hard to get, very special. And so what I did was I kind of gave her like a training doll, so to go into the budget friendly dolls that exist in the 18-inch doll line. I mean, I do have the Disney LE Forever dolls I get to after I talk about this, but we also have, in Canada, we have a couple budget friendly 18-inch dolls. One at the store, we have this hardware store that is Canadian Tire. So it sounds like it's a store that just sells tires, and they do sell tires, but they also have like hardware and household stuff like appliances and household cleaning things. They probably have a lot more than that too. They have a toy section, for example, and they carry these dolls called Newberry dolls, which are 18-inch, and they're inexpensive. I think they're about 40 Canadian. I wrote it down. Yeah, 40 Canadian, which is about $28 USD. So they're about the same price as OG, our generation dolls, which I'll talk about in a second. So I started my niece with them with a Newberry doll. And like I think I said, they're all one sculpt, so they all look the same. They just would have different color of vinyl and different hair colors. And they have a similar body to American Girl, as in it's cloth all the way, arms and legs and heads are vinyl. And the clothes that they come with are about our generation, what would you call it, quality, which means they're very cute styles. They're not too bad. Like they don't look like they're gonna fall apart, or you can't see through them so much, but they're definitely less quality than a doll line like American Girl. And there's another doll line, a doll that I used to have to dress up as Tiana. And they're called, I don't know if America has them, maybe they are international, but I could only find them in like Amazon Canada, or I think Canadian Tire might have even, no, because Canadian Tire only carries Newberry because I think it might be their store brand or exclusive there, exclusive to Canadian Tire. Um, but they're called Journey Girls, and I don't hear much talk about them within doll collecting communities outside of Canada. So I have a feeling that they're Canadian dolls, and they go for about 55 retail Canadian. And I wrote down the difference, which would be $40 US. So they're a bit more expensive than Our Generation or even My Life As, the Walmart dolls. And so talking about those two, the American ones, the Our Generation and My Life As, oh, Our Generation seems to be exclusive to Target in America, in the US, and in Canada, we don't have Target, but we have Toys R Us, which I think America doesn't have anymore, but at one time they did. But they never closed down here. So if they have reopened in America, they never close in Canada. So we've always had them. So anytime there's an exclusive Rainbow High doll or, like I said, Our Generation, we find them at Toys R Us. And Toys R Us is our more expensive toy store. So it's unfortunate when something's Target exclusive, because then that means in Canada it's going to be Toys R Us exclusive. And on the bright side, when you're collecting something like Rainbow High, Toys R Us seems to get it first in Canada. But it sucks too, because then they're more expensive. And I've never had an Our Generation doll. There's one that came out for the 30th anniversary, because these dolls, like I said, 30th anniversary. So they came out about, what, 1994 that would be? Which is funny because like OG to me means like, OG, like the original gangsta. They would be like the OG American Girl ripoff. So it's funny that that's their initials. And I think those were what, $25? Yeah, so they have this, also have the same AG body type, which is the blinky, yeah, their eyes blink, the eye open and close, and the head that moves, and arms and legs vinyl, cloth body. And they had this boy doll come out for the 30th anniversary named Mika, who I thought was really cute. It looked really quality online. And then I was looking at videos, because when I start going down a little bit of a rabbit hole, I do want to see unboxing and see how they look in people's collections rather than just go and buy one, because we don't, if Toys R Us is getting them, they haven't yet for the 30th anniversary. So either they're late or they sold out fast or they're just not getting them. But either way, they would be too expensive here. And after seeing the actual unboxing videos of him, it's still a cute doll, but the quality is not what I'm used to. I guess I'm a quality snob. It's okay. I'm an adult collector, so I can afford to be a quality snob. I hope that's not rude to say, but for me, I'm going to collect them and, keep them in good condition. So it's not like I'm going to be out here ruining $130 doll. So I've never had an OG doll, and he was the closest one I came to. And for My Life As, again, quality snob here. They're available at Walmart, so they're Walmart exclusive, which means Walmart Canada and regular Walmart, American Walmart, is where I've seen them in person. And I will never buy them for me, snob, but my niece likes them because it's like the play quality. So I can show you the quality of their clothes compared to like an American Girl brand. And so what I was saying before about like things not being see-through, I feel like when she puts this on her doll, you're gonna be able to see the doll's body through it. And one thing I hate is molded plastic shoes like the ones that come on here. But they have such kid-friendly designs that my niece is going to flip when she gets this for Christmas. So I hope she doesn't see this video. And then I could show you the way the dolls look on the back. So in my opinion, they don't do anything for me, but we all have different tastes, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I do think these would be a kid-friendly design. And I haven't handled one to know the head looks like it's on some kind of swivel. Like it doesn't look to be the same kind of neck joint that you have on an American Girl, for example. But yeah, so these aren't for me, and that's okay because we're all different. But there are some budget dolls I actually do like. And when I thought I was done chasing an 18-inch Playline doll because of that green dress I mentioned earlier, something happened in 2021 where I came across an actual beautiful, high quality Tiana gown. Like this is such a great reproduction of what she's wearing in her Bayou wedding scene at the end of the movie in Princess and the Frog. And so now I was on a mission. I was looking at dolls a little bit less carefully, let's say. I was becoming less picky. So I did end up buying a Journey Girl doll. to put in this, but I've since given her to my niece because I have better dolls now to wear this dress. And so I did end up buying a couple because they went on sale, and um, it worked out because at the same time that I came across this dress, there was an announcement that Disney was releasing these dolls called Disney Illy Forever. And I think most people are familiar, within the American Girl community, most people are familiar with Disney Illy Forever dolls. And to anyone who's not, or just to give a little bit of breakdown, they're dolls that are, very doe-eyed, very cartoony. I can just show you the one I have, who I wanted to explain that she looks like a Disney Elite Forever Tiana doll, but she's not. They didn't actually make, they still to this date haven't made a Disney Elite Forever Tiana doll. So this one was original. She was part of the first wave, and they were announced in August of 2021. They were just all over doll blogs. I was part of, I always post, I was well deep into Instagram, Disneygram, I think we called it at the time. So when these things happened, I knew about it, whether, people were sending me links or just seeing posts. I was well aware of that these were coming out. So I was on now two missions. One, because like I said, they didn't come up with a Tiana doll. So what these are is they're just supposed to look like a doll who are almost cosplaying, or they're just wearing dolls that are inspired by their favorite princess. And the original wave didn't have a Tiana doll, meaning a doll who, regardless of looking like Tiana, if she would wear clothes that were inspired by Tiana. So for me, I had to figure out a way to make my own Disney Illy Forever Tiana doll. So this is the Elsa doll from the first wave. No, Olaf, sorry. Olaf, and she was the only black doll. And because I was going to put her in my Tiana collection, I did want her to resemble Tiana, to blend into my collection nicely, to be cohesive. So she was very beautiful. I love the face. I love everything about the doll, even because this is like my first, um, aside from Healthy Roots, so this is my first doll who could actually be Tiana. So I was really excited. These are all American Girl pieces, and so this is kind of everything does tie into American Girl and also to Tiana. And I forget what I think I for sorry I somebody told me what these pieces are from. I know they're American Girl, but at the time I wasn't informed at all. I had no knowledge of American Girl stuff, so I didn't know whose these pieces were. And what I did was I had this jacket. To finish that thought, because I didn't know enough about American Girl at the time that I picked these pieces from eBay. Now in my brain, they're just etched as Disney Illy Forever Tiana. I cannot retain anything else. And even though I've been told and I've looked into it, I just forget. It's Disney Illy Forever Tiana. But I know that this is Mary Ellen's Halloween costume skirt from her cowboy outfit, because she hasn't always worn this. She's only worn this since I've been collecting American Girl. Why did I want to bring her close? It'll come to me, or it won't. But so their bodies are a lot like American Girl as well. They're just proportioned very differently. So they've got the cloth body, all aside from the head, arms, legs, and they're not really ball jointed the way American Girl is. Their arms really only go up and down, and their heads, like American Girl, only go back and forth, and they sit kind of the same way. And they're also skinnier. But when they were being launched, there were a lot of posts that these dolls were going to be compatible with American Girl. So they do fit things very nicely. I'll show you on a different doll later because she's wearing a little bit less clothes. So they didn't just have dolls that came out. They had little play sets and stuff too. So the most we got for Tiana was this cheap plastic little cooking set. And of course I had to have it because it's Tiana. And these were all Target exclusive. So again, we couldn't order them in Canada. They're now, and I don't even know how recently, it must have been for the last, if anything, no longer than this year, but I feel like it's only in the last few months that Walmart carries them in Canada now. But I wouldn't have been able to get this because this is from the first launch, and things like this sold out pretty fast. It's like they didn't make a lot because probably didn't know how popular these little pieces would be. And even though I'm never going to do anything but display this because it's a Tiana piece, and here you can see the other dolls on the back. These were the first wave dolls. So you can see the Olaf doll. Is it on this side? No, it's probably on this. Nope, this side. I can't even see the monitor from here with this covering me. So that's what she looked like. And the clothes, same kind of thing. Play line, a lot of plastic sculpted things like shoes. I don't think they've ever done fabric shoes. I think it's always just been because she came with skates and even the hat wasn't like a beanie, like we would call them a toque in Canada. Even that was molded plastic. The pom pom on top was molded plastic. So I didn't like anything from her outfit. But I think kids would have loved it. So it's not, they're not snobs like I am. And the other, so let me first, this is from a later release of Disney Illy Forever of this size. And so I can show you now. So this was the Elsa doll. And as you can see, she's a darker skin tone, closer to 35 in the American Girl world. So like Claudie, that level of skin tone. And so I bought her to dress her in the American Girl blue gown. But so this is the only other Tiana item that was ever released. Still no doll. That's Tiana. So as you can see, it's just a little pajama set, and it didn't last very long. Luckily, I was able to have a friend help me order these pieces from Target.com at the time, because they never would have made it to Canada otherwise. And what I've recently found out, I don't know if this is newly leaked, but it turns out that this was not the original concept for the dolls. They were originally going to be dolls that were more like childhood versions of the dolls. It was like the Tiana doll actually looked like looked like her. It didn't look like Tiana per se, but it was a black girl, a black doll dressed up as Tiana, paying homage, Tiana inspired clothes, had a cooking set that, well, I guess it was probably similar to that cooking set. And the big kicker, these dolls were articulated. They had elbow, like they bent at the elbow, they bent at the knee. It looked like if they had it might have been an entirely plastic body, because I could see that their heads were a little bit more of a swivel too. These have been making their rounds on social media recently. I don't know how many people have forwarded me people's posts showing the original concept, because the only three I remember from the prototype pictures that have leaked was Tiana, Merida, and Ariel, so Brave and Little Mermaid. And so imagine if they had done articulated 18-inch dolls. eh, they looked amazing. They were probably gonna be really expensive, and they wanted to keep these in I believe these are like $30. Yeah, I think they're $30 at Target, and their regular price $50 Canadian, which is more than $30 American. But they've been on sale for $40 for the longest time, so I kind of see them as $40 Canadian. And they do a new wave probably every 6 months or so. There have been so many at this point that I can't keep up anymore. I just know every once in a while one will appeal to me, and the newest one, who's the nicest, my niece is going to be probably seeing her under the Christmas tree this year. Moana. She looks just like this doll, but instead of having, well, this doll's hair was supposed to be down, but I put it up to look like Tiana. But she's got two, what you might call Afro puffs, or two like ponytails on her hair, curly ponytails on top of her head. So cute. And so another thing that happened, it's not really 18-inch doll anymore, but it's just to kind of finish off the Illy Forever topic. And they didn't just do 18-inch dolls. They announced well, I don't know when they announced it, but in January of 2023, so it must have been maybe a few months before January 2023, Disney Store got in the 12-inch fashion doll line. And this time they did have a Tiana doll. The doll didn't look like Tiana. The doll was East Asian. I considered her Chinese because I ended up putting her in a different outfit. And sorry, let me explain first what I did. So the doll who they released as Tiana, I can show you on the back probably. So this is the doll who was Tiana, and you can see her up here as well. And then the doll over here who was Belle, to me, looked more like Tiana. So what I did, and there's probably going to be a lot of glare, so let me try to find a light. So I took the Belle doll. So these are supposed to look like dolls who are cosplaying, going to, or not, Disney bounding is what it's called, where if you're an adult, you can't dress like a Disney character, so you can dress inspired by a Disney character. And to anyone who doesn't understand, that's because, they don't want 25-year-old or 40-year-old Cinderella walking around, have kids going up thinking that's Cinderella, and then turning a corner and seeing Cinderella again. So Disney has to control where kids are going to see these characters who they're supposed to believe are real. And if we had American girls, if we had grown-up princesses running around, and just, you never know if there's a nefarious intention there. So they have to do that to be protective. So they have this thing called Disney bounding, which is like I already explained. So what I did was I took, as I said, the Belle doll, and I had to open this so carefully. I was looking at it. So if you see the back, there's no tape here. So I opened the doll so carefully because I wanted this to look like she was, you know, mint in box, never opened. And I'm so unhinged when it comes to my collection. So I just, yeah, copied exactly how the original doll was posed in there. And I don't remember if I did the same for the doll I ended up giving my best friend, the original Tiana doll, who's East Asian, and putting her in Belle's outfit. My best friend doesn't care about Belle, but you know, I was like, "You want a free doll?" And she's like, "Yes, of course." So, yeah, I managed to make a Tiana doll. This is the first wave. They've since done another Tiana doll. I don't need to show her here, but I have her as well, and I didn't change her up. But the other things that came out with the first wave, similar to the 18-inch doll line, they released a playset for this. So for Tiana's, it was like a beach set. And I don't know what Tiana has to do with the beach, but because it was Tiana, I had to have it. And they also did a fashion set for Tiana, which is here. And so yeah, anything that's Tiana, Disney Illy Forever related, I will buy. And I will do my best to feel like the doll itself is cohesive with my collection. And that's just how I enjoy things. So I think I've covered everything I needed to for Disney Illy Forever, but that's not the end of the 18-inch dolls I'm going to talk about. And I don't know if I made it, whoops, she almost fell off. I don't know if I made it clear just putting her side by side because she's just wearing pajamas. So you can see the bodies are very different, but they can wear each other's clothes. I just have no reason to put a Disney Illy Forever doll in my American Girl collection. And if you want to see what the feet are like, they're always going to be I find only American Girl dolls have those squat, wide feet. So shoe-wise, you're always going to have a little bit of a struggle, I think, trying to get things to fit unless it's like a Gott's doll, because Gott's dolls, they're the original manufacturer of American Girl, so they have the same bodies, even to this day. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to Canadian Girl, which is Maple Lee, which is nicknamed Canadian Girl. And I'm not going to go as deep. I hope I'm not going to go as deep into Maple Lee, because the thing is, I do plan to do more of a deep dive on just Maple Lee, because I have started to collect them in spite of myself, and originally just thinking I liked the clothes. And when I bring up my first doll, you're going to see why. But before I bring her up, I should just say that I don't know the price when they first started, but they currently are $125 Canadian, which is about $90 American. So they're about the same price as the Healthy Roots dolls I showed first. And they started in 2003 with 4 dolls who all have the same sculpt. And I have one of them. Her real name, her proper name is Brienne, but with the way she is so spooky and has literally scared people on my channel, I have now called her Briannabelle, because somebody said they think this is what the doll Annabelle looked like before transforming into the doll we see today. And to defend the doll, she's really old. She's not 2003 old, she's like 2007. But I feel like even though she, to this day, is a very, very pale doll, this one must have lost some color over time. And I'm going to bring her close, so scare warning. She has her eyes, so the whites around her eyes they look bloodshot. Like see what I'm saying? Like, this doll is scary. And I want to tell a little disappointment I have about this video. So my original plan was, I have ordered Samantha's Pleasant Company nightgown for my Samantha doll. So I was going to put it on Briannabelle, and then I had done her hair in braids to make her literally look like Annabelle would before, you know, transitioning to the Annabelle we know today. But unfortunately, it was coming through Canada Post, and today is when I expected the package to show up. But today is also the day I'm recording this. Today is also the day that Canada Post officially went on strike. So they're no longer, even if they had it and it's ready and it was ready to be delivered, they were told us, you know, cease and desist. So they're not going to be delivering for anything. We don't know how long it's going to be. And I didn't want to put off this video any longer. I was waiting for that to arrive so I can do the little joke. I'm still going to show her that way one day because it is funny, but it's not going to be her nightgown. And so yeah, unfortunately, Canada is currently without a postal service, and they love to do this around the holidays. So they think it's going to get them their way. But most people, if you're curious, most people think that it's going to make everybody go somewhere else for their postage needs, for their shipping needs, and that people will no longer need Canada Post. It's because it's already become pretty archaic. I'm not saying I feel this way. I'm just saying that's what I've heard. And I find it's cheaper than using a courier locally. When I go to America and I courier locally, like within America, I find couriers there are very competitive. Maybe, yeah, cheaper than using the post a lot of the times. But here, UPS or FedEx within Canada is so expensive. So I don't know. We'll see how that unfolds. So yeah, she is part of the original core four. And as I said, they started in 2003 with these four. And the idea behind them, I don't want to go too deep, like I said, is the way American Girl is historical. They represent like a year or an era. These dolls represent like a city, or within our province or one of our territories. But originally there were no territories. It was just for 4 cities throughout Canada. And then in 2008 they added a French doll, because we have a French province in Canada called Quebec. Maybe you know that. So there's now a French doll. Well, there has been for, what is that, 16 years? So yeah. And one thing I'll talk about later or in another video when I do the deep dive, is her sculpt has come a long way. She was scarier than this when she first came out, in my opinion. She looked scarier than this, but now she's cute. And I don't have the French doll yet, but I do have her on pre-order, because they did a limited edition doll. Maple Leaf did a limited edition doll this year, and I really love the outfit. I'll explain more about it when I do the unboxing, but suffice to say, I have the French doll coming because the other 2 options for the outfit that they made, the limited edition outfit, I already have those 2 dolls, and so I would have chosen one of the other ones, but anyway, you'll see more when that time comes. So 2008 they introduced a French character, and then in 2011 they added Scylla, who is, because I was saying before that, let me just put her down for a second. She might float away. Don't be scared. So she's an indigenous character from Nunavut, so one of our territories, rather than being a doll from a province. But if you've seen any of my videos, people who on YouTube, I meant to say, who have seen my other videos would probably be familiar with Scylla, because I did an unboxing. I've talked about her quite a bit, and yeah, I didn't. I must be honest, I didn't get a very good one, because if you look, one of her eyes, and I've not seen this be a problem with other Scylla dolls, one of her eyes is literally sculpted lower than the other, so it looks like it's falling off her face. But I put her up on a shelf, and she looks fine. I get over the pain. You know what I'm saying? And she's got such a lovely collection, so I guess I had to wait so long for her that I guess I'm just happy to have her, because she was on back order for, it must have been a year. I felt like I wanted to buy this doll. This is the doll I wanted to add to my Maple Leaf collection first. So you can understand my disappointment when I got Briannabelle. But I only got Briannabelle because she came with an outfit that I really wanted, and I originally was going to give her to my niece, but she's so funny that I feel like she's a part of me now. She's a part of my collection, and maybe one day I'll even put her on a display. But for now, she's in a box in my closet. And sometimes I think I hear her. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, back to the actual dolls and not the silliness. I'm just going to put Briannabelle away for a bit, and you're welcome. So I think it was 2012. Yeah, no, 2015, they added a West Coast doll. So they started out with 4, and then they've expanded the main line. But in 2012 was when they introduced Lea and Me, which is their version of Truly Me. And I was looking in the monitor at my Truly Me doll, because I don't know if you're able to visualize. I've done comparisons on here before, but I just, to visualize having my Efrat doll nearby to see. Here, I'll put Scylla next to her, and you can look at them while I talk about Lea and Me. So Lea and Me started in 2012, and I, again, won't go too deep into it, but they released their first wave of dolls, probably like 12. I didn't write this much stuff down, but I have been looking into Leaf, because as my collection grows, and I'm showing more stuff, I want to know more instead of like, I don't know this and I don't know that. But anyway, I know that they released the first wave, and that sculpt, if you think Briannabelle is scary, I need to get a doll of that sculpt to show you real scary, because there is something about the Maple Leaf dolls that, at least in pictures, and it does tend to look better in person, in pictures they look like creepy old marionettes from was that old show Thunderbird? Is that the 1960s show where there are all those marionettes and they're like on a spaceship or something and they're so terrifying? That's what Maple Leaf in pictures. I think it's the way, 2D pictures sometimes just do not capture the 3D beauty of a doll. So as I've warmed up a little bit to the sculpts, I um I am starting to like them. I don't. Okay, Brianna Bell, like I said, she's good for giggles. I like that part of her, and that's not hate. Okay, that's pretty hateful. Who am I kidding? Um, but I understand that she's just not my personal aesthetic, and uh, other people have said, even Maple Leaf collectors have said she has the most creep factor to her. So that's not her fault, I guess. But other dolls of the same sculpt don't look that level of coming to get you. And the Toronto doll, I may get her one day. She's way low on my priority. She's the same sculpt, but she at least looks better with like darker hair, a little bit deeper of a complexion, etc. So back to the Maple Lea and Me dolls, I don't have any from the first few waves. The only dolls I have are from this year's release of Maple Lea and Me. They just restocked them, or stocked them, I should say, because they're newer versions of the older dolls about 2 months ago. So I've shown them on here, but it's always nice to show close up because sometimes the dolls settle, they look better. And so this is my Maple Lea and Me 51, I believe. And as you can see, they have this cute way of holding their hands in front of them. But because I don't want her to stop holding her hands, sometimes she loosens it because of what she's wearing. I put a little double-sided tape inside her hands to make sure she doesn't let go. So I've named her Tamika. And when I unbox her, I don't feel like her hair had settled enough that she wasn't at her full cute potential. So, I don't know what I just knocked over, but it's not important. So I just wanted to show her, give her a little moment too, because I, I actually do love this doll. And not just because she's grown on me, I did like her to begin with. And this mold is just called Black Canadian because she's not a named character. Their only black doll or the only black mold has just been a Maple Lea and Me. Even though there are plenty of places that they could have situated her and given her more of a story, and I really think they should have. That would have been good because aside from Sila, the characters, at least I haven't read their stories to know if have dived deeper. They all seem like they're white characters, so there could have been more diversity aside from Sila, who was only introduced a few years into the actual line. So they could have done, they could. I'm not trying to put everybody else down, but like they could do with a little bit more diversity, especially in their named characters who have stories. I feel like I said that 5 different ways, but the same thing. And then I'm going to show you my latest doll because I have a new outfit a retired outfit, but it's new to me. And I wasn't able to pick out her name before because when I got her, I just put her into the Halloween costume, the Maple Lea witch costume. So she's just been like a character in costume this whole time, so I couldn't see her. But now she's got her official outfit that I'm probably going to keep her in as often as possible because it's amazing. She looks so cute in it. And so this is Winter Wong, and she is, I don't know her Maple Lea and Me number, but this is the only East Asian sculpt that they have. So because they have a Lunar New Year outfit, and I could see on the monitor that she looks awful. I don't know why these dolls are not photogenic. There's something about their sculpts I think they're so detailed and so deep that they just don't, like, the light catches them and they look scary. But she is so pretty in person. Let me bring her closer. So if she doesn't look pretty, warning. But anyway, I think this doll is stunning, and I don't know why she looks like that on camera. Hopefully, anyway, maybe it's just the angle, but I hope that you can see that she has a really sweet face, and this outfit is amazing. So this is called the Concertina outfit, and it's a retired outfit from bring her back. I thought she looked okay up close, but I'm bringing her back and I'm already like, turn her around. Don't look. This is a retired outfit from the French dolls collection. Leonie is that doll's name, by the way. And like I said, I'll have her to show later, and I have to stop looking up at that monitor. And another funny thing about Maple Lea. So they make really quality clothes. I don't remember if I said that in this video, but I've said it 100 times in other videos. And as quality as they are, because these dolls have such long, narrow feet, the boots are, of course, quality. But look at those boats. She doesn't look like she's walking. She looks like she's going sailing, which is unfortunate because I think if the doll's feet weren't so long and narrow, maybe I'll show you. Let me just put Winter away. I think her name's Winter Wong, right? And her last name has significance. I'll, just a little quick. When I was born, I know that the baby who was born beside me, so my mom shared a room, the baby's last name was Wong. So I've always had this story about when I was born, about, my first friend was this baby with the last name Wong. My mom made a joke. It hasn't aged well because, we're a lot smarter now about jokes we make. But she meant it in love anyway. So that's why the name Wong has a lot of meaning to me. So let me take off this shoe because I think it would be easier just to show you how long and narrow these feet are. Because like I said, they're always long and narrow when it's not American Girl. And so in order to get these feet, long, narrow feet down into a boot, the boot has to be a lot bigger. So when it's something really structured, like a cowboy boot, or, well, that's more of like a motorcycle boot, I think, they just have this really unsightly bigness to them. And so then also the leg is too big too. So they've got these skinny legs, especially compared to American Girl. And so as you can see, the boots are like baggy on them and they just look way too big. But they're still very quality. I'm not always going to have these boots as part of our outfit. I think they'll look good on like an American Girl boy doll because of the size and just because of the style. I know where they're going. So I believe that's all I need to say about my Maple Lee dolls. Like I said, I'll have more to say later. And so let me put them away because the last doll I have to talk about, it's a little bit of a cheat. I show him I love to show this doll, okay? This doll is very cute. He's a custom. And when I'm talking about American Girl, I'll consider him an American Girl doll. And now that I'm talking about my not American Girl 18-inch dolls, all of a sudden he's not an American Girl 18-inch doll. And I've shown him a couple times recently, so it's some of you may know who I'm about to say. So this is Sterling, and he's a Gott's little sister doll. So let me bring him up close because he's so cute. You need to see him up close. And now these dolls, I mentioned earlier that Gott's originally manufactured Pleasant Company dolls, which I'm sure everyone knows. So the original American Girl dolls were made by this manufacturer before Mattel bought out the brand. So I think it was 2000 to 2001, Gott's produced these little sister dolls. And I wasn't there, so I don't know how truthful it is that they were made either, in retaliation or competition with Mattel making the American Girl dolls. So as far as I know, they only made 3 characters and they retailed for $70, which I don't know how much American Girl was going for back then. But the thing about these dolls is they are the higher quality. So they're the Pleasant Company quality, where the limbs are chubbier, wider, and they have a cloth body. The head is a little bit different. Like it comes down it narrows at the bottom of the neck. So when it goes into the joint, it just doesn't look the same at the neck joint, but you're not going to notice that. He could still be an American Girl doll, even though in this video he's not. And what I noticed though, they only had 3 characters. So this one I believe this is the Kate character. And they had Tess and Lily. So Lily was a blonde, blue-eyed character. This doll, Kate, had like a sandy blonde, light brown hair, long wig, and then gray eyes. But the gray eyes, which is why I bought this one, broke. So he's got American Girl eyes. And as you can see, they're pigeon-toed. And people think, I was looking into this, trying to figure out why does he stand like this. People think it's the way they're strung inside. So I don't know if that could be corrected or if it's just because the body is shaped a little bit different too. It's a little bit thinner, but a little bit broader at the shoulder. So they just look different when they're not wearing clothes. And sometimes the dolls are rooted and sometimes they're wearing wigs. And because I love how he looks, like he's so cute as a boy, they have what people called a Mona Lisa smile. To me, he just looks really sad. He doesn't look like he's smiling at all. But is that what a Mona Lisa smile is? Whatever the case, because he turned out so great, better than I expected. Maybe the blue eyes were a good thing. I've toyed with getting the other 2 dolls because Lily is blonde and blue eyed, so I wouldn't need her. But the Tess doll has a little bit more of a tan. It's still a white doll, but it's a little bit more of a tan, and brown hair and a pinwheel dark brown eyes. So I thought I could try to get a Tess doll to make a boy look a little bit different. But the problem is sometimes they're wigged and sometimes they're rooted, and I don't want to have to cut off all that hair and then stick a wig over a bunch of hair plugs that I don't know if I'll be able to get them out properly. And then it makes me worry that because they have a different hair, they may have different everything. Because I haven't dived into it enough to see if it's really worth going forward. And maybe I'll just keep him as special, you know, one of a kind, the only one with this mold, this face in my collection. But he is just so cute, and I I got him for this outfit to be him for to make him Sterling, Kit's friend in my collection. But he's just I want to put him everywhere, and he doesn't really look like Sterling because he doesn't have the gray eyes. So that's why he's gonna end up moving around a lot, and I'll pop him into any video I possibly can, and that's why he's in this one. So I think I covered everything. I made notes because I had a feeling I was going to be talking about a little bit more than usual in one video, and my brain's all over the place. And so one thing I'm glad I didn't lead with, so for anybody who's still here, the reason I chose my Truly Me 121 is because I wanted to have, like I said, a doll to just have on hanging out so you can kind of visualize how different each of these dolls are, body-wise, whatever. And I wanted to choose it. I wanted to have a doll I haven't really shown in any of my videos, and I haven't shown Efrat because as much as I love this doll, she has a very special story that I'm not going to get into here. It's a very personal story, and it's like I'm trying to think of the right reason to talk about it and not drag down a video that's already. I mean, long is fine. I know that. That's what I'm saying, but I don't want. It's like has nothing to do with this video, and I don't want it to get buried. But anyway, that's why Efrat is here, and so like let me just bring her up because I just haven't really shown how cute she is, and you might be able to put a little bit of her story together just by the way she's set up. And you know, she's wearing Lila's outfit with some Truly Me pieces, the Truly Me accessories. And so this ended up being, I was really scared going into this one because I'm constantly peeking over at notes over there. But everything did end up feeling kind of like smooth as I was going. So I hope I didn't miss anything, and I hope I wasn't overindulgent talking about things too long. And it's a Saturday when I'm uploading this, so you should have the time. So hopefully I didn't ruin or interrupt too much of your day. And to everyone who's still around, I will see you soon in the next one.